Hello and welcome to Every Rock Has a Story. Today's rock is hidden. Actually, it's hidden in plain sight. I've noticed that this rock, which is one of the biggest ones I have, is camouflaged by the dinosaur rock. And this rock of the day is here. Bet you didn't see it, right in front of the dinosaur rock. This is actually one of the biggest rocks that I have, and it's one of my favorite. I collected it myself, and you'll never believe where I collected it. I collected this rock right in the middle of the city of Boston. In fact, you can find this all over the city of Boston, and I'm going to tell you that story right now. Let me bring this closer so you can see it too. I hope some of you are still doing your science journals, because this one's a good one to draw. Big rock, but look, inside this rock, there are rounded rocks like that one, that one, that one, that one. Even that one there. Those are called clasts. They're big. They're cobble-sized. Hold them in my hand. And so this rock has big, rounded clasts or cobbles, and they are glued or cemented together by this dark, fine-grained matrix. Large clasts glued together by fine black matrix. This rock, which is all over Boston, is a sedimentary rock called conglomerate. This rock is a conglomerate. And conglomerates, by definition, have two sizes of chunks in them. These big clasts and the fine-grained matrix. Now, how do you think these clasts got so round? Where have we seen rounded clasts before? Maybe you remember in video number 4, we talked about this rock. This beautiful granite with the pink feldspar. But remember how it's round? Remember how it got round like that? This one got round because of water. In this case, water at the beach. These clasts also got round because of water. This conglomerate has something to do with ancient rivers, powerful rivers and currents that were moving rocks around, rolling them around in the water and smoothing them off and rounding them off so we see them today. You can almost imagine this clast being one of the ones stuck in here too. But when this rock was deposited into a great basin, like a great big sink off the coast. We call it the Boston Basin. This was a long time ago. This happened 590 million years ago. Almost 600 million years ago was when there were great rivers carrying all this material, lots of water, rushing along and then dumping down into this basin in the shallow sea, and landslides off the coast were slumping down and filling this basin, thick basin, with layers of this sedimentary conglomerate. Now it's interesting. This time, 600 million years ago, was a time when Boston was still part of the lost continent of Avalonia. You can hear about the lost continent in one of my other videos. But the lost continent of Avalonia then was still close to the coast of Africa. And this was the very end of one of the coldest, harshest, most remarkable times in the planet that we call the Snowball Earth. The Snowball Earth is just how it sounds. It was a time that lasted, at least 100 million years, where the entire Earth was covered in frozen ice. The mountains, the land, even the oceans were frozen in ice, or at least slushy, thick slush. And it was so cold that most life couldn't exist. Well, there was no life on land anyway, but even the life in the oceans had a hard time staying alive and thriving because it was so cold. Well, at about 600 million years, those glaciers and that ice of the snowball earth finally started to melt. And when it did, the waters melted and the rivers rushed, and those basins right off the coast got filled with sedimentary conglomerates like this one. There are conglomerates of that age, about 600, 590 million years ago, some earlier, all over the planet that are markers of the melting of the snowball earth, the filling of those basins by rivers and rocks like this one, and some conglomerates are even left by the glaciers themselves. Glaciers scrape and grind and push and then poof, drop off big piles of sediment that we call till, T-I-L-L. This one tells the story of the rushing rivers. I think that some of the water that rushed into that Boston Basin 600 million years ago, depositing this rock, was the very water melting from the great ice and glaciers of the snowball earth, one of the coldest times in our history. You see, Earth changes its climate all the time. In the past, it's been much colder than today, and other times in the past, it's been much hotter. We as people are experiencing a time today where the climate is just right for people. If it were the snowball earth, for people, too cold. We would hate it. We wouldn't be able to exist during that time. And if it gets too much warmer, that won't be good for people either, especially as the continents begin to flood as seas rise, like they did during the time of the dinosaurs. But this rock, which we can find all over Boston, in the walls along the roads, and even in some of the buildings, tells the story of great rivers and the great melting of the snowball earth. If you ever get to visit Boston College, which is where I teach and work, look for some of the oldest buildings, and you will see that they are built of this ancient river snowball melting rock called conglomerate. See you in my next story. Bye-bye.